All right, perfect. So, kind of doing a follow up from last week. So, I kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts on, if you had any more questions about vision boards, if there was anything else that anything that you stumbled upon that might be like kind of hard, or maybe you like noticed some patterns in your thoughts, just kind of anything. So, I'll kind of open it up for anybody who was here last week to go ahead and kind of share their experience. But with those two, the vision board and then the writing and getting rid of it, what was your guys' experience? And do you guys have any questions, follow up questions?
I'll go. I think one of the things is it's breaking that cycle. You've been doing your bad habits for so long. So like I had to be very aware of, oh my gosh, maybe thoughts are going to something that I'm so used to doing, or just those habits of I trying so hard to get up early, but yet all that extra hour of sleep sounds wonderful. So that for me was hard. It's just breaking that cycle.
Yeah, right. Creating that habit and how to make
Yeah.
it a positive one. And so that's why, so when we talk about the vision board, we talk about having the top right corner, be something, no, the top left corner, sorry, be something that is totally worth it to you. Because if it's not worth it, you're not going to get up for it. And so for a long time, I had $30,000 right in that spot. And I was like $30,000 in like a month or a week or what, it didn't matter, but it had to be within a month minimum. But I had it sitting there, and every time that I didn't want to get up out of bed, I would just turn my head and I would look at my vision board and be like, okay, is it worth $30,000? If I magically came across $30,000 this month, would it be worth it? And the answer was always yes. So I kept getting up. And so everybody has down days as far as like their habits and their cycles and stuff. It's just like you said, being really aware that this is my new me. And we're going to kind of go into the new, I guess, you, because we all have this like future self that we want to be and that we're like hoping to be. Like, I mean, there's so many people that I look up to, like Tony Robbins, Marie Forleo, like there's so many people that are amazing, and we like have this vision of like we're going to be like these people and we're going to be as successful and change as many lives as these people. But if we don't actually ever bring that to our reality, it won't change anything. Because the crazy thing about your future and your past and your reality is you can only stamp a moment of your life in this very moment. Like even what I just barely said has already passed, like it was on a treadmill, and what's coming ahead of you, you can't step on it until that time comes. And so you have to start creating those habits for yourself now, because it's really going to set your future up. But really, it's just about bringing that right future to you, so that you're bringing the right lane to you. And that's kind of confusing. We'll go into it a little bit more. But totally, yes, it's all about breaking that habit. So make sure your goals are worth it and that you're doing what you love to do, because otherwise it will not be worth it and the habits will not be easy to break. Love it. Okay. Any other questions, comments? I'm actually going to
For me, it was the thing about first the vision board, because my one was on that wall back there and it was like huge and it was just too much. It was like the things I wanted to do in the next 30 years and it was just like a bit overwhelming. And so now that I've done it and I've got mine like in those squares, I feel more focused, because I'm like, yes, it's actually stuff that I can see myself do. It's not so overwhelming. And so the second thing is when you talked about the industries becoming experts in your industry, not so much it works, but in the beauty industry as a whole, or things like that. I got so excited, and I've been like reading and a lot about the industry wider than just it works, because I feel like I can now say to people why the greens are good for you and why you have to alkalize your body and like things like that. It's not just buy the greens because you should be taking them. So that I love that. Thank you for that.
No, I love it. That's such a good comment. I love that. Yeah, being an expert it's secretly easy. You just have to take the time to do it, right? So I love it. That's awesome. Perfect. All right. Anything else that anybody had experienced or wants to comment on? All right, perfect. So I kind of lost people. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I want to do today is Okay. Can you hear me? And it's just okay. Sorry. I'm like, my phone like froze, and I was like, all I can see is faces, but they're not moving. So okay, perfect. So if you can't hear me, let me know. But okay, perfect. So, okay, the next one that I wanted to go over is what do you do when you have those negative thoughts? Because if you wrote more than one time or you scribbled on something, negative thoughts, and destroyed it and got rid of it more than one time, you probably realize that they're reoccurring. The thoughts are a lot of times the same ones, and they kind of just consistently come and they kind of beat you down. And so what I want to do today, I have so many things that I wrote down that we could go over because I was just so excited and I was just sitting here. We're going to try to go through as many as possible. But the first one that I want to do is just what do you do with those negative thoughts, and how do you change that cycle? How do you change that habit so that thought's no longer the main negative thought in your head so that you can move forward? Because if you're always thinking, well, I'm not good enough, well, then you're not going to be good enough. And so it's like trying to force it is not fun, and it takes years. And I love when people tell me that it takes 5 years for the average business to like be successful, because we get it in less than a year. And I think that's low. That's just garbage that people are telling you. And it's just that negative thought of that, like, oh, it's going to take me 5 years to figure this out. And so it's like changing that thought so that it doesn't take you that long is amazing. So what I want you guys to do on a piece of paper really quick, I want you to write down, let's say, just 5 negative thoughts that you have concerning you in your business. So business oriented, but just 5 negative thoughts, whether it's people won't talk to me, or I'm not good enough, or, I don't know, I don't look good, like whatever the thought may be, just write them down, just your top 5. All right. And then once you guys have them, if you're brave enough to share, because I promise a lot of our thoughts are the same. So if you're brave enough to share, will you guys just start shouting out your like 1 or 2 of your thoughts?
Not a good enough leader.
Okay. I'm not a good enough leader. Okay. I'm going to write that one down.
They think that I'm a joke.
They think I'm a joke. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The way people see my appearance.
So how would you phrase that into a sentence that you're thinking about yourself?
People's judgment.
So people, like, would you say like people will judge me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So, and can I ask you really quick a follow-up question on that one? What will they judge you? What are they judging you for? What's like the next piece of that sentence? People will judge me for
my appearance and knowledge of the products.
Okay.
For appearance, yeah.
And knowledge of the product. Okay. Anything else?
Sometimes I feel like, am I a one-hit wonder? Did I get to where I am, and can you really jump that next hurdle as you're climbing these larger ranks?
Okay. I love that one. I actually think it's kind of funny. So I love to laugh at my negative thoughts because they're so ridiculous. Okay, so in a good way though. So
I think it too, because I actually have myself and my husband at the same rank, and I'm like, you're not a one-hit wonder if you've done it twice. What's your problem? Keep going.
Yeah. No, so it's so crazy. So for the last like 5 weeks, I've been kind of on vacation secretly. So if you look at my social media, it's like basically nothing except for what I'm feel like posting randomly. And normally we're on top of our social media marketing, and I've had a lot of people go like, oh my gosh, like, are you doing okay? Like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, no, I took 3 weeks off to build a course about loving yourself. Like, and so it's about me, and like, not me personally, but like loving yourself and finding yourself. And I said, I can't do that if I'm like stressed out about work. And so I took it off. And then my mom is our nanny. So she was gone for 2 weeks visiting her sister in Texas. And so literally it was like 3 weeks for me. I mean, like 2.5, 3 weeks for myself, and then 2 weeks with my daughter because my mom was here and my mom wasn't here. And so it's really funny because as I started working again this week, I was like getting that negative thought of like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to start working again. Like that's going to be crazy. Like, what am I doing? And then I started working and I was like, I'm a freaking genius. Like, and you guys are all geniuses too, by the way. So like, if you've done it once, like you're like amazing. Like, and so it's just funny because I like love to like get those negative thoughts and then bounce back and just be like, that's a hilarious negative thought that you're trying to sell me because it's not going to work. And so just totally, so if I laugh at your negative thoughts, that's why, because I have this conversation with myself daily. I was even like, maybe I'll just be a stay-at-home mom. And then I got this thought of like, you'd be a horrible stay-at-home mom. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to be horrible at whatever it is if I listen to my negative thoughts. So I'm going to pick my thoughts and I'm going to do whatever I want. So yeah, so pretty funny. But okay. So we have, I'm not a good enough leader. Basically, they'll think I'm a joke. People will judge my appearance and knowledge of the product. And am I a one-hit wonder? Okay, so I want you guys to do this with your negative thoughts. Those are the ones that I'm kind of going to use. But I want you guys to like take the 5 that you wrote down. Because who here has ever done like declarations before? Just like wave your hand and I'll kind of like scroll through. Okay, perfect. So who here's ever written their own declarations? Like just, if you've ever like written your own, okay, perfect. Okay, so what I want to do today is kind of write what I found to be more powerful in declarations. And so if you've done this before, awesome. But probably most of you maybe haven't. I don't know, maybe you have. So if you have, I'd love to hear kind of your experience with it. But what I want to do is I want to flip these negative thoughts. And so literally sentence for sentence. So the first one being, I am not a good enough leader. That's kind of the first one on my paper. So what you want to do is you want to write the opposite, obviously, right? Like what would be like the amazing other side of that, +1. And when you add 1, I like to normally make it like a physical feature or like a personality trait because it's funner. So I am not a good enough leader would then become, I am an amazing leader and I'm sexy, because that's going to wake your brain up. If you tell yourself that you're sexy out loud, your brain's going, wait, is that okay? Am I allowed to say that? And so just think of like something like super fun and crazy if that's your personality. If not, then you can totally do whatever is best for you. But those are kind of like what I like to do. So I'll give you guys a few minutes, but I want you to, on a different piece of paper, flip the negative thoughts. So completely, like I said, I'm not a good enough leader becomes I am an amazing leader. They think I'm a joke. They look up to me and are inspired because of me. People will judge my appearance and knowledge of the product. People respect my appearance and are excited for the for product or whatever. Kind of, you guys can word it. And then am I a one-hit wonder? I am like a 50 million hit wonder. I would put. So yeah. So write yours, and then we'll kind of go over that after. And after each sentence, leave room for another line. So just leave like a blank line underneath each sentence, because I'm going to have you guys add stuff to it as well. Yeah. All right, and once you're done, just like unmute yourself and say, did it or got it. So I just can kind of tell where everybody's at.
Done.
Done.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, done.
Okay. So the next thing that I want you to do is I want you guys to put a feeling behind it. So I am not a good enough leader. It would be I am an amazing leader and I am sexy and I feel phenomenally successful, abundant, whatever it is. A lot of times when we write declarations, we just write like what we want, like I'm a millionaire, I am successful, right? But we don't put what that looks like and what that feels like. And so by putting the extra line and then a feeling behind it, it will wake your brain up more and kind of help, like I said, bring that reality to you. So after each line, put a feeling behind it. So, and I feel abundant, and I feel like an amazing mother, if being a bad mom's like one of them. And so you can totally just how you feel or how you want to feel, I guess you could say, behind each one of them. And once you're done, just let me know that you're done.
Done.
Yep, done.
Done.
A few more seconds. Okay, so now I want to kind of ask you guys, so how do you guys do your declarations when you do your declarations? Just on a daily, weekly, monthly, whenever you do your declarations, what does that look like?
I just read them over to myself and shout them out to myself. Sometimes I might, like, depending on what it is, it makes me emotional. And so I might cry or shout it with excitement.
I love that. Okay, cool. So emotion, excitement. Okay, anything else?
Repeat the question or the statement.
Oh, no, you're good. So when you do your declarations, what does that look like? Like, what do you do when you do your declarations that you've done in the past?
So in the past, I've done it several ways where I did a video recorder, a voice recorder on my phone. And I remember declaring what my goals were as if they already happened, like flipping these and recording it in my phone and then playing it over and over again. But I remember thinking, I thought I was being positive, but my voice didn't sound positive. So I had to create it with even more enthusiasm to sound inspiring. Like it was a little bit stuck in my head. And so as soon as I was doing that, like it felt different. It's something that I haven't been very good at doing consistently though. Like I would do it really well and then I would like skip a few days and then do it really well and then skip a few days again.
Yeah, and so thinking about recording your voice, and I love doing this. I do it in like a story form where I like talk about my story and like where I'm at with my declarations, and so I definitely write it out, but it's not necessarily declarations. It's more like my future, like what's happened, and then I record it. The problem with this assignment for a lot of people is we don't like the way we sound. It's kind of like taking a selfie. You only like it from a certain angle, and so we love the way we sound when we talk. We love to hear ourselves talk, but when we hear ourselves talk back, like when it's like played back to us, it's scary. Like even still me, like I have a few audio CDs and it's like terrifying to listen to them because I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's what I sound like. And I start to judge it and my negative thoughts go crazy. So I have to just like not listen to them. And so I love the recording idea though, because what it does for you, if you can do it multiple times. So if you just do it one time and then get used to it for like a week, then, okay, the next week, record it again. You'll sound a little bit better. Then a few days later, record it again. Because what happens is you start to fall in love with your voice and who you are. And that's an amazing thing. And so I actually take selfies every day. I don't post them on Facebook, but I take them every day. And because it started, I used to record a video, a daily journal. Instead of doing a journal on paper, I would just record and talk about my goals. And I remember there was this mentor that I really wanted to hire, and I was like terrified I would never get to hire her because I didn't know how much she was going to be, but also would I ever have the money to hire her was like the better question. And my vision board I just was like scared to even look at it because of it. And so I started just doing daily journals where I would just talk to myself, and then I would go back and watch the journals after. And what happened was I was like, oh my gosh, I love my hair. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. And I started to like love who I was. And when I love who I am and I hear myself telling me this new story that's going to be like an amazing life, then I'm excited about the life versus being like cringing because I don't like my voice. And so if you don't stick to voice, like if you record it on your phone and you don't listen to it often, most of the time it has to do with like your voice, because it's actually the easiest way. You can just put it in and then go to bed, right? And so it's just one of those things where there's just that little hesitant. So I love it though. So that's definitely a really good idea. I think that one is a top-notch one. It's one of like the more developed ones, I guess you can say. And so some of the ones that I wanted to give you guys, though, some of the ideas, is your brain has what's called the reticular activating system. And basically, it's what keeps you alive, right? And so your subconscious runs your life, right? Like it runs your body. It makes sure that you're breathing. It keeps you safe. And so anything that wants to get to your subconscious and permanently stick in your subconscious has to get through that filter. And that filter is very hard to get through. The only way to get to it is to be really repetitive with what you're doing, or be insanely, what's like a good word, like intense with it, so that it just shoots through. And so think about when you're a little kid and you get burnt, right? Like you touch something hot and you get burnt. And then you're like, oh my gosh, and you pull away and you're like, ow, and you're burnt. Like that went straight through your filter, and your subconscious now knows, do not touch things that are hot, right? And so then we're scared of things that are hot. And so it's kind of like that. And so declarations, if you want them to sink in faster, you have to do them multiple ways. You can't just do one way, because it's not intense enough. You could do it for like 10 years, it might happen. But most of the time, and actually all the time, it's better if you do multiple ways. So looking back at April, she said that she, sometimes got loud with them and shouted, but then also sometimes it was like emotional. And that's perfect, because you want to bring different emotions to your declarations. And so some ways that I like to do it. So the basic way that I've kind of been taught, and that like everybody that I like in my circles kind of do, is they just do it 3 times, morning and night. So basically you read the whole entire set of declarations through, yelling as loud as you can. Then the second time you whisper them. And then the third time you just read them to yourself, and you just put your hand on your heart. Because as women, it gets us. Like we feel that emotion when we read them. And so we just do it, like I said, 3 ways. So super loud all the way through, and then we do it like regular or quiet, like whispering all the way through, and then we do it hand on heart, not saying the word, but just reading them to ourselves, really slow. Because when you do things slow, you like are forced to like listen and hear what you're saying, and it almost is like really terrifying, but it helps sink it into your brain. So that's one way. Some other fun ways, like you can record it, you can like create videos, you can even have like your spouse or like a family member record it for you. There's been times that I was really struggling and I had my husband record my declarations for me, and it was so amazing. I would have him just like whisper it, and then I would go to bed listening to it, feeling like if I couldn't be there for me, at least somebody else could tell me that I was great. And so there's that one's kind of a cool one. My ultimate favorite, though, is singing. I love singing, and I have the worst voice ever. So that is like a no-go, but I love it. And I love to like sing it like super country twang, and then like super like gangster rap. It's just so fun to like put on music and then just totally like replace the words with like, your declaration. So that's the funnest one for me, because I love music. So just do whatever is best for you. So now you guys have your personal declarations, you have the feelings behind your declarations. So totally just own it and like be that person, step into that person. And every time that you get that thought of, oh my gosh, should I even be doing this? Should I be working? Then you just laugh at your negative thoughts and say, oh my gosh, you're crazy. Like, I'm amazing at this. I'm a genius. And you just start saying your declarations over and over again. And one thing I want you guys to add to your declarations, if you don't already have it, I am a smart business owner. I can't tell you guys how many months in my business I thought I was a business owner, that I really was not being a business owner. And I remember, I don't remember why it came out, but I was like, I'm a horrible business owner. And so I decided to add that one line, I'm a smart business owner, to my declarations. And all of a sudden, I became a business owner, and I actually was making decisions for my business. And it was my husband and me own a business together. So it was interesting to see how my mindset had shifted and his still hadn't. And so we would even get in arguments, and I would have to be like, no, listen, put your business suit on and talk to me as my business partner right now, not my husband. And he would be like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, we haven't been progressing our business the way we wanted to. And so it's just insane to see how your mind starts to think like Damon John or, Mark Cuban and all these people. You start to go, okay, what would they do? Not what would the lazy me that's like scared of the world do. So I am a smart business owner. Definitely a really good one. Yes. Does anybody have any questions on declarations?
I do. How many do you think is a good number? You said for us to do like write out 5 things. Do you think that's a good number? Should we do more, less?
So it kind of depends on you, but I always recommend starting with 5 and then moving to 10. So if you're somebody who already does declarations, do 10. That's fine. Anything more than that, your brain kind of gets lost and doesn't really stick as fast. But I normally do 10 and it's fine. But because each one has 3 lines, that becomes 30. And so you have to kind of remember that if you haven't done declarations for a while, make sure that you go back and that you start with the 5, because that's still 15 lines that you're saying. So cool. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so my challenge for you guys is find crazy ways to say declarations. Last year, I just got a notification on my Facebook. I did a mentee challenge and I tagged every single person that was my mentee at the time. And I said, do your declarations and send me a video. Like post a video on Facebook of you doing your declarations. And most of them, I think there was only 2 that didn't do it, but most of them did it. And they were like, this is crazy. And they were like shouting their declarations on them. Some of them were really mad and they were like, Elisa's making me do this, but here's my declaration. And they didn't want to do it. But it's one of those things where they had to overcome that like fear. I've had people do it in public. I worked with a store that was in the mall, and I remember telling them at their staff meeting, well, you guys are going to need to like sink this in your brain. So everybody stand up right now and shout as loud as you can. And it's like the mall doors are open and everybody's kind of staring at them like, what are these people doing? But it was like, you know what? You have to just get through it, and you have to just be not scared to be who you are and to say who you are. So I challenge you guys to find fun, crazy ways, share them with each other, because sometimes, you know, what I'm telling you might not be what works for you. Somebody else might have the secret to how to make declarations work for you. So definitely play with that. Cool. The next thing I want to go over that I wrote down. Who here has ever heard of Money Friends? Has anybody ever heard of Money Friends? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of no's. I'm going to keep scrolling through, seeing if I see any yeses. Okay, perfect. So this is fun. Okay, so I want you guys to think about your relationship with money. I want you to think about the good and the bad. And I want you to really think about, you know, do you like money? Do you resent money? Like, how do you feel about money? Do you wish that we didn't need money? I don't know if anybody else has ever had this thought, but it was probably a few months ago. And we used to watch The Walking Dead, which I don't watch anymore because it gives me nightmares. But we used to watch it all the time. And at the time, I remember telling my husband, I just wish there was a zombie apocalypse so I didn't have to deal with life anymore. Because I would survive a zombie apocalypse. I would be one of those people that survived, right? And then I thought about myself, why would I want to survive that? And if I can't survive this, like, why would I rather have my family be in danger and all this stuff? And it came back to, when I started thinking about it, it came back to money. I was so mad that money even existed, because in a zombie apocalypse, guess what does not exist? Money, right? There's other resources. And so I remember thinking, like, what the heck? Like, why do I hate money so bad? Comes back to having to pay bills, comes back to, you know, not being able to take the vacation that I wanted to, or not hitting that goal, or feeling like a failure. And so money plays such an important role in our lives, and we try not to let it run us, but at the end of the day, in the back of our minds, a lot of us really don't have a good relationship with money. And so luckily I have an amazing mentor who makes me play with money, which is what we call Money Friends. And so what I like to do is I like to take a $1 bill, $2 bill, $5 bill, $10 bill, $20 bill, $50 bill, $100 bill, right? Like, don't miss, you can miss them if you want. You don't have to get that many, but, you know, get as many dollar bills as you can of each kind and carry them around with you. Because when you do that, you don't ever feel broke. I remember I had a set of Money Friends, and it was my mom's birthday. And I got her a gift, and it was like, yeah, that's great and everything. But I just remember sitting there feeling like I just wanted to give her more, but we did not have money. And I had a set of Money Friends, and I was sitting there and I was like, okay. And this was right after my mom got divorced. And so she's been divorced for like, I think like 4 or 5 years now. And so it was like back when I first started kind of doing all this. And I remember sitting there going, we really don't have any money. I can't give her anything more than what we've already got her. And she lived in like a small apartment. And I just felt like so bad that my mom was going through this. And I just wanted to give her more. And I remember just telling my husband, I'm going to give her my Money Friends. It was like $183, I think. And I was just like, he was like, are you serious? And I was like, but I wasn't, like, I didn't plan on spending it. It wasn't something that like I was like expecting for bills. It wasn't anything. It was just my relationship with money. And I was willing to give my mom that because I knew that my relationship was better and I could build it back up. And that's the best feeling ever, when you know that you can create money like that. And so what I want you guys to do is start with $1, a $2 bill, whatever you have, just at minimum like $1. Just take $1 and keep it on you at all times. You'll start to feel like you have money. You'll start to feel better. I mean, a lot of us don't carry cash. When we have a $10 bill, it's like, yeah, it's great. My husband is not going to dictate how I spend this money, right? It's like you can just do whatever you want with it. He's not going to care. But when we carry a card, it's like, oh, you spent $10. What did you spend money on? You're like, well, why does it matter? It's $10, right? And so I love that feeling of like having money on you. And this is super important in a business of sales, because if you go up to a prospect and you're trying to talk to somebody, you're trying to like get them to work with you, and you don't have money, you're going to take energy. Your energy is instantly going to take because you're looking for resources. But if you have even a dollar bill in your pocket, you are willing to give more, and you're not going to take energy, you're going to give and provide energy. And so it makes people trust you more. And it sounds crazy. Test it out. And I want to hear your guys' feedback next time, because it's insane to see the difference in how you feel when you have a $5 bill in your pocket versus when you have a $0 bill, like no dollars in your pocket, right? So that's kind of my challenge for you guys. And that was kind of like a smaller thing that I wanted to go over. But just have a good relationship with money. One thing that I would recommend doing as well, and I'm going to give you guys a lot of action steps today. You can pick and choose which ones are good for you, and you don't have to do all of them. But one thing that I've done is I go back and I write down anything that I could possibly be mad at money or time for. And I say, why would I be mad at time? Well, because time did this to me, and it took too much time, and I didn't have 5 employees like I wanted to, so I had to spend all the time doing this, and then I want something late. And you could literally like list all the things that you're upset about with time and money. I didn't have enough money to go on this vacation. I didn't go to a conference. I didn't get to go to this. Like, you can list all these things that you're mad about, and I would consider taking that list, going in a room, driving in your car where no one can hear you, one of those places, and just talk to time or money. Just do it, because a lot of people have a bad relationship with time. I used to be late for everything. And I love it now because time is like on my side, like my best friend. And so just go have that conversation. Say, you know what, I'm really upset at you for this, and I'm really upset at you for this, and just see what comes back. Just see what you feel, and what really, like, just keep talking until you can't talk anymore, or until it's like an hour later and your husband's looking for you. So just talk it out, because eventually you'll get to the core root of that problem that you didn't even realize was a problem. It had nothing to do with money and everything to do with something else. And I can't tell you much more than that, because I don't want to give you the root of your problem, because I want you guys to figure it out for yourself. It's more powerful that way. But I can say it's totally worth taking that time to write down what you resent about anybody, even like when it comes to like any type of relationship that you have. It could be a person, it could be a thing, it could be time, money, any of those things. So that's kind of just like my little inside tips right there. So that's not really what we're going over right now, but anyway, hope that helps. Does anybody have any questions?
Can I add, sorry, Colette, I keep jumping in here. Can I add something about that money, having money on you? When I joined our company, we were so broke. Like, house was in pre-foreclosure. Every bill was nearly 90 days late. And as we started to make money, I should just say, anytime any money ever came in our hands, it had to be immediately in the bank account because of the possibility of overdrawing bills. Of overdrawing bills or whatever, like scraping loose change together for gas, all of that. And when I started to make money, though, like, I remember making some money, and I literally had like $200 cash that sat on my kitchen island for months. I didn't have to rush it to my bank account. I just sat there. Like, I literally looked at it and I was like, this is the most incredible feeling. I don't need this money. Quiet. No, quiet. Sorry, my 3-year-old's here bugging me. I'm like, I don't need this money. Like, it was freeing. Like, that was such a freeing moment, because I did not have to put it in the account. And then the other day, I had cash in my wallet, and one of my kids was like, do you have any money? And I'm like, yeah, I think there's like $20 in there. And I remember thinking to myself, that $20 has been in my wallet for at least 3 weeks. And it just sat there. Like, but I'm relating to what you're saying about how you feel about it, because it is such a freeing thing, because literally that $20 would have been everything. That couple $100, that would have had to be in our account so fast. And so I just love the feeling that I'm not held back by it anymore. It's all I used to do was think about is, how can I come up with money for something? Milk, eggs, bread, cheese to feed my kids. And now it just sits around the house or sits in my wallet, and I don't even care about it.
No, I love that. And I think that's really good, because the difference in walking up to a, potential customer or potential, team leader, you walking up to somebody and trying to sell them and kind of offer them something, it's so different when you feel that free, and you're like, okay, great, my life's good, and you feel abundant, versus when you walk up going, I have to create $20, I have to create $100, I have to create whatever amount it is, right? And it's just so much different. And so actually it frees you up to be like, not a good person, you're a good person anyway, but it frees you up to like let other people feel like you're a good person. They feel good energy from you and you're somebody they want to be around. And so when that happens, you'll make more sales. It's like kind of like when you let go of money, it will come back, right? And so the way to kind of let go of money is to kind of just have a good relationship with it and hold on to it and like honor it and be excited for it. And that means that not spending it before you get it, not having an agenda for every dollar that you make. I know that if I talk to somebody, I can tell within like 10 seconds if somebody has an agenda for me or not. Me and my husband go to a lot of conferences. We go to a lot of places. We are like number one probably in our circle of getting asked to like join this next business or, help somebody in this or invest in this or, take this person's course because they'll get kickback for it, right? Like when they're in affiliate partners love us because they're like, oh, you guys have money, we'll just buy whatever. And I'm always like, no, I'm not. Like if you have an agenda for me, I'm not going to join you. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to, buy whatever it is that you want me to buy, even if it's good for me, because I'm going to find that good somewhere else because there's more than one person that can give it to me. And so just not having an agenda for somebody is an amazing thing. And so not having an agenda for your money is also a good thing. Now you obviously want to plan and, be considerate of like, pay your bills and stuff. But at the same time, you want to make sure that when you do, like, it's just $1. Just get $1, stick it on your mirror, put it in your pocket when you go somewhere. There's so many different things that you can do with $1 to help bring that abundance into your life. And so I love that though, that $200 story, that $20 story. It's amazing. So incredible what money can do for you. Cool. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, so there's kind of 3 different things. So I'm going to kind of ask you guys what you guys want to go over. Kind of, I don't know where your biggest struggles in your business are. But so using social media to find people, I want to, like, that's a possibility. We can talk about social media and marketing there. We can talk about your brand and your identity, which kind of goes with it, but 2 different things. Or we can talk about how to become like the leader in your industry. And they all work together, but really are you struggling the most with like standing out and like really like owning it? Or are you struggling the most with like social media marketing? Or if that's even a way that you're trying to build your business, or are you struggling more with like knowing who you are and what it is that you're chasing after and who your ideal person is? Like if you don't have like an image of your ideal person that you want to be on your team or the ideal person that you want to be your client, then we probably should work on that one first. But yeah, so I'll kind of let you guys let me know.
For me, it's the brand and identity, like because I think for me that comes first before I feel like I can attract people on social media. I need to know who I am first, and then I guess once I've attracted people, then the leadership. But yeah, everyone else is different, but that's just me.
Okay, cool. Anybody else have any input?
Elizabeth, you were nodding your head when it came to branding yourself as well. Do you think that one's number 1 for you or something else? Yeah, okay. Dorothy, what about you? One sec. Say it again, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I actually missed it. I was having speaker problems, so.
Branding yourself and finding out who you are on social media so that you can attract others.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
what else was the other one?
So being a good leader in your industry and company, kind of like standing out.
Standing out or building your network on social media. Which one of those?
I want to say branding myself, finding out who I am first and then attracting them to me.
Okay.
Love it. Cool.
All right.
So, all right, we'll start there then. Okay. So I love it because I just created this whole course on it, and it's literally just like finding your personality and loving who you are. So there's so many things that you can do, and a lot of people think you have to like have some crazy person brand you have to have like a logo and all these things. Like they're great things, don't get me wrong, but really at the end of the day, it's really about who are you and what energy do you want to put off, because that is your brand. And so kind of backstory, obviously my husband and I own a business together. How many times do we have to change our logo before I was happy? 3. And it was so frustrating because we were like in business, we were doing good, and then we have a following, and now we have to change our logo, and it didn't even look anything like the old logo. And so we changed it 3 times before we got it right. And it was because at the very end, I finally said, you know what, like I run this business like 80% of the time. I'm going to pick a logo that feels right to me, because if I see something on my paper and I'm like super excited about it, I'm going to like be excited about it, right? But if I see something that I like really don't care about, that's like blue, red, and yellow, which is great, but not my colors, then I really am like, whatever, it's cool that we're a business owner, but whatever, you know? And so it's not just about your logo, but in general, when you look around the things that are around you, surrounding you in your business, you really want to feel excited for you. You want to be excited for you. So not for the company's logo, right? Like you don't want to be looking at their logo going, okay, this is a great logo. It's great and that's awesome, but that's not you. You didn't create that. That's not who you are. And so what I want you guys to really focus on is, sorry, I like lost people. Okay, so perfect. So what I want you to think about is, who are you? And so really quick, I wrote down this question. I want you guys to answer it real quick. So if you were flowing, serving, and doing your mission to the highest possible level, what does that look like? So write that down. So you don't have to write the question, but just write the answer down. If you were flowing, serving, and doing your mission to the highest possible level, what does that look like? And you can just like write like 3 to 5 things or more. Okay, and once you have written down those things, I want you to intensify it by 3 and answer it again. So if you were flowing, serving, and doing your mission to the highest possible level, what does that look like? Times 3. And now write your answer.
Okay, can I just say, what if you don't even know how to answer that? Because that's where I am. I'm like, I don't even know. Does anyone else feel that way? I wrote down what you said, and then I'm like, I don't even know if I can answer that question. So Can you help me answer that?
Yes, I'm the same. I don't even know what I am right now.
I'm like, I think I figured out my problem. I don't even know the answer to that question.
Okay, so I'm going to read my answers. I did this a while ago, it's about 2 weeks ago. So I wrote it down, and then I was like, okay, so once again, this is just my answer, so yours can totally be different. But when I did, I wrote down Facebook Live inspiration and thoughts daily, because I always am like, I have the best thoughts ever, and I like, not like some amazing, but in general, just because I like, you know, when you get like a thought and you're like, I want to share it with the world, but then Facebook Live's intimidating, so you don't, or your hair's not good, so you don't. But if I was just living and flowing and serving my mission, then I would just share Facebook Live every day. Every time I had a good thought, I would do it. I would actually have a blog already. And then I started trying, like, okay, I would have a circle of like-minded friends. I'd be speaking in larger groups, like thousands of people. I would be collaborating with big names and bringing them all together. I would be hanging out with my family daily. I would be building trust with my audience. I would create a large audience. I would be like hanging out with TV show experts and giving them presentations, and like, not like actors and that, but like people who have TV shows for my industry. And then I would be helping other countries and like other things. So that's kind of like a long-term goal that I actually have started doing. And so, yeah, so that's kind of my answer. Your answer can be anything, but in general, like if you were living your, you know, your mission every day at the highest possible, what would that be? And then when you times it by 3, it's like a little bit scary. Just use your imagination, because I can't answer that one for you. You have to do it on your own. But just use your imagination and really just say like, okay, like if I was like the coolest ever version of me, and I always like to think of like my higher self, because my higher self knows the answers to like all of these questions. And I was just like, okay, like what would like my highest, like purest self want? You know, and then answer that, because a lot of times it would be, okay, so instead of speaking in front of thousands of people, I would be speaking in front of like 1 million people, or I would be speaking in like Vegas and like these huge events that go on. Like it would be like bigger. I'd be speaking in like tons of thousands of people, you know, and I would actually have like communities in other countries already, and you know what I mean. And I would have the vlog already set up. I would have people that follow me around like Gary Vee and just record me and then edit it because it's cool. And so, you know, like thinking bigger, like think of people that inspire you. And why do they inspire you? And what about their lives could you pull? So I'll give you guys.
Okay, so then can I give an example of how you can help me times it by 3? So when you asked, so I'm just having the question here, if you're flowing and serving to the highest possible level, what does that look like? And so picturing myself flowing and serving, what was that third part that you said? Flowing and serving.
And doing your mission to the highest possible level.
Okay, doing your mission. Okay.
To the highest possible level.
Yeah. What does that look like? And so what I said was, what that looks like, serving and doing my mission to the highest level possible, looks like On stage, a rock star, big leader, successful, owning it, confident, inspiring, giving back, service, helping my family. So
I love that.
what,
Okay,
how
so
does
now-
intensifying that by 3?
So I would start with individual ones. So let's see, what did you name a few of them that you said again?
On stage, rock star, big leader, successful, owning it.
Okay, so on stage. So I love this one because I used to just picture myself on stage, right? And I'd be like, oh, cool, I want to be on stage speaking in front of tons of people, right?
Yeah.
So when I answered this question, I specifically thought in my head, okay, if I was going to be on stage, what would it look like? And I pictured myself on stage, which we've done a million times, so it's pretty simple. And even if you haven't done it, it's pretty simple to picture yourself on stage. But then intensify it by 3, and all of a sudden my outfit changed, my hair changed, like the audience number changed, right? And so just it's taking that time and really just like, and so you might not have all the answers today or this moment, but take the time to really find these answers. And, you know, I mean, if you play big enough, you can probably find them right now. If you're just like totally open with it, because your subconscious knows the answer. And so if you're willing to play like a little kid and just like free with it, then it will come to you. And so just like same thing, just imagine yourself doing that one thing that you pointed out, like, okay, having fun with my family and loving my family or helping my family, I think is the word, helping my family. Okay, great. So helping my family, what does that look like? Okay, I make sure that, you know, my parents, their bills are paid for, you know, my kids are happy, everything's great. One step further than that. What's one step further that you can go to help your family? Whether it's, you know, going on, you know, this vacation that's amazing, whether it's taking them to a third world country and having them help out and being able to do that, whether it's, you know, buying, like one thing I really want to do is buy my grandparents their old house because they built a house and then they had to sell it years later and they lived there for so long and they built it with their hands. And so it's really important to me that eventually I'm giving them that back. So that's pretty big, like, you know, and so that kind of stuff. So you just have to intensify it.
Okay.
Cool, love it. And so once again, if you don't have all the answers right now, that's totally okay. Just sit with it. You can meditate with it. You can just, you know, some people, it's totally up to you how you find the answer. You can journal. I love to journal and write things out. I like to talk a lot. So I also do daily journals, video journals because it works for me as far as like finding the answer. So yeah, so just intensify it by 3. And then look at that person that you would be, whether it's the ×1 or ×3, look at that person and really see that person's qualities because that's really your brand and your personality. That's where it's really going to come out. So that was when I realized, like, I mean, I've kind of realized for a long time that I'm pretty girly, but that was when I realized that I like am absolutely super girly, right? Like I'm a tomboy too. Like I love football and NASCAR, but let's talk about like how I want to look and how I want to dress. I wear heels like every day, and I love jeans that have rips in them because that's just, I love ripped jeans, and I love tank tops, but I also love blazers. And people thought you couldn't put tank tops with blazers because that was just weird, or like, you know. And I was, no, you totally can. It's my style. I do it all the time, and people compliment me all the time. And so it's one of those things where you just really have to look at that person and say, who is that person? And so when it comes to your brand, I want you guys to, if you don't already have a Pinterest, I would get one. And I like use a lot of different apps for this because building my brand, it teaches me. If you're into clothing, Polyvore, I think is what it is a really good app to build your brand on because it's just one of those things where you can go and you just pick out outfits that inspire you. And then next time that you launch a course or next time that, you know, you're creating a social media post and you're like putting a quote into words, you can go back and look at those clothes. And for some reason, it just like makes my heart excited to look at clothes. I love clothes. So just, you have to work around what you love. That's just an example of what I love. But what I like to do is I like to look at, okay, what are my favorite colors? Like what colors inspire me? I don't think I have the magazine right here. I have a magazine. I think it's probably at my husband's office. I was probably showing something. On the back of it, there was these shoes that were like pink and blue and had like a little bit of green in them. And it was so random. They were so cute that I was like, this is it. And so the next course that I launched, that was the colors of my course. And I was excited because I was excited to look at this pair of shoes next to me every day while I was working my course because it called to me. It was who I was, right? And so your personality is obviously a lot more than just a pair of shoes or clothes, but that's just one way that you can really pull out what you like. Another one that I love to do is really make a list of who your favorite artist is, you know, who your favorite band is, what your favorite book is, you know, who's your favorite, you know, motivational speaker. And I don't even know, motivational speaker, yes, but not necessarily their qualities about them, but more so like the feel that you get when you listen to them, right? What's your favorite candy bar even? Like what is your favorite everything? And just go through and start making a list of my favorites. And you just make a list of your favorites and then ask yourself why. We spend about, I would say about an hour on just the list of favorites. When we sign clients and we work on their whole business, when we do like a business makeover for them, we work on literally just an hour of just their favorites, because it's so important to even down to the candy bar. Like, what do you like about the candy bar? Candy bar, oh, it has caramel in it. What do you like about caramel? Well, it's sweet. Well, it's like, you know, it's like flowy. It's like, you know what I mean? It just sticks. Like, you know, like, what do you, down to descriptive words, like about everything? And I want to be super honest with you guys right now, and you guys are probably going to think I'm crazy, but one of the things that like really helps me, pick your favorite artist and your favorite band. If you love music. Clothing and music are kind of my two things. Pick your thing though. And so pick the things that you love and then go dissect why. Like, dissect it and figure out why it is that you love it. So for me, I literally spent an entire day, well, like half a day, like 5 hours probably, on watching One Direction videos. And let me tell you, I didn't even know who One Direction was like a year ago, okay? Like, I had heard of them, but I didn't really like know who they were. And one of my mentors made me listen to one of their songs, and I was like, okay, this is a really good song to do declarations to. And so I started listening to it, and it came on the radio, and it like sparked something in me. And I was like, oh, this is great. So I started listening to a few more of their songs, and I absolutely like loved it. And I was like, and they're not their known songs. They're like the songs that people don't really know about. And I started loving it. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Like, how do I pull this out more? And so I went in and I watched behind the scenes on my favorite actors and favorite actresses and my favorite bands. And I started like watching behind the scenes of all this. And when I looked at One Direction, it was like, they all clearly have their different personalities. Which one do relates the most to me? And so you can look at other people's personalities and pull any part of their personality that you absolutely love to yourself. The only reason you're not doing it already is because you're scared to, because somebody in your family might say, oh, that's not really who you are. Or like, I grew up with 3 brothers, you guys. I was like the biggest tomboy. I didn't even do my hair. Like, I would like literally in high school, like 10th grade, I would not even brush my hair. I would just pull it in a ponytail and I would go to school. I was that big of a tomboy. I wore like, what are those? Military like cargo shorts like every single day, basically, literally 10th grade. And I was on dance company, but still I was like super tomboyish. I was like, that dance was like the only thing that I did that was girly. I didn't wear makeup. I didn't do all these things. And when I started to like want to wear makeup and I started to want to dress girly, my family was shocked and they were like, what are you doing? And so trust me, just because you're living one way now does not mean that you're living true to yourself. You need to live true to yourself in order to figure out who you are, and your brand is who you are. Especially when you're in a business that's owned by you. Now you have 10 business partners, you have to kind of collaborate, right? And kind of like, okay, what's our, like, you know, kind of get together and compromise, what's our brand? But right now it's just you and your team, but really you're making your brand, which is your personality. And so really go in and dissect. Are you the funny one in the group? Are you somebody who is like the leader in the group, and not like leader, like in like a, you know, I'm the best in the group, but leader in like the sense of like, okay guys, let's go this way. Okay, let's do this. Like, are you the problem solver in the group? Are you the goofy one? Are you like, you know, like, who are you in the group? Are you the one that will just bust out and start singing because you love to sing so much? Like, you know, who are you? And just really start to recognize those things and write them down. And that's like, what I want to say is I have a binder, like a notebook that I used for this project. Cause like I said, I took 3 weeks off to do this. And I just started journaling everything I loved about any person, anything, any brand, anything that I saw, websites, even like anything that I did, I just wrote it down. And you don't need to take 3 weeks to do this for sure, but this is just one assignment from that. But take it and write it down and just whatever inspires you. I mean, you guys probably heard my voice change so much. Like, I love music. Don't get me wrong. I'm very inspired by music. But when I was talking about music, I was more relaxed. I'm just like teaching guys something. But when I talk about shoes, I'm like all in. I'm like, okay, let's talk shoes. Like, you know, you want to talk One Direction with me, which is really weird, but I'll talk One Direction with you. You know what I mean? And so you want to talk NASCAR? Like that, like NASCAR excites me like no other. Like, I can't tell you, like Sunday is like my favorite day of the week most of the time because I get to watch NASCAR. And my driver like crashed last week and I was still happy. Like, I was still happy and he like crashed and I was like, I'm mad, but it's okay because I'm going to watch NASCAR next week, right? Like, that's how much I love NASCAR. And a year ago, I hated NASCAR. My stepdad watched NASCAR and I was like, this is the most boring thing ever. But once you open your mind to liking something and really just not liking it for anybody but yourself, you'll find out who you are. And if somebody teases you and says, oh, why do you watch NASCAR? Football's better. Then you can say, no, I like NASCAR. It's okay, you know? And so just totally, it's kind of random. Like, those are so random, but they're the truth. And so just really finding who you are. So Pinterest boards, this is why they're super handy. I have a million Pinterest boards that are hidden that nobody can see, because if you have a Pinterest board that everybody can see that's your brand, you're not going to pin things. There are going to be things that you're like, ooh, this is super cool, I should pin this, and then you're going to double think it. There was this really cute pair of boots that was, they were kind of like work boots for people that like work in like, you know, like heavy duty jobs, I guess. And they were high heels though. And they were super cute. And I was like, I want these. And then I didn't pin them because I was worried that somebody would think that they were ugly. And that's when I was like, I need to hide my brand board, because if I don't pin who I am because I'm worried about what other people think, how will I ever truly know who I am? And you won't. You won't, because you're living somebody else's expectation and standard of you. So hide your board on Pinterest, just like you don't have to hide everything, but just your branding board, and just start posting to it, whatever inspires you, whether it's lyrics. I love Katy Perry lyrics. Like, she has some really amazing, Pink has some really good lyrics. I mean, I just love music, obviously. So, yeah, so you can totally go in and like pin lyrics. You can pin, recipes. Like my mom, she does recipes, and she like does like has like a blog and everything. She does all this crazy stuff, and it's really like, it doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me to look at food, but it excites her to look at food and recipes, right? And so just totally find out what it is that you love, and then ask yourself why. What is it about this book that I love? I had a client that was a little bit scared to tell me her favorite book, because it was like it was like a romance book that was like for teens. And she was like, I don't want to say that because I feel so dumb. And I was like, but why do you like it though? Like, I'm not going to judge you, but why do you like it? And it comes down to, it's a fairy tale. Like, it's happy. Like, it has tragedy, but everything turns out okay, right? And so I wrote, okay, write that in your life story then. Like, there's going to be tragedy in your life, but it's a fairy tale. Everything turns out okay. And so to live your life as if it was a fairy tale is amazing. I loved when, was it April? Yeah, April was talking about, having your house go into almost foreclosure and all those things. I've been there. I've been to the point where I was like, my house is going in foreclosure. I don't know what to do. My husband's truck was repossessed, and it was the worst time. 90 days is like the max you can go on most of your bills. I know that as well, because guess what? I was there. It takes somebody who's been there to tell you how long. Most people are worried about being a month late. I was worried about like being 3 months late. I was like, a month late. I felt good that I was only a month behind on bills, right? Like, it was exciting to me. And so when you're in that situation and you're going through those things, it's really easy to stay, it's really hard to stay positive. But me and my husband said, you know what, we're just going to stay positive. And it was so weird. I remember one day he got a phone call from his work, and he was at work, and he called me and he was like, hey, so there's just not very much work, so they're probably not going to have me working very much. And I was like, okay, that's really crappy news. And then I found out that one of the people that I was trying to sign a deal with, that I was working with, for it was like a collaboration that we were doing, it wasn't going to work out, and she wasn't going to do it. And so I was really upset about that. And it was like everything that could go wrong that day had gone wrong. And we got a call saying that our house was going to be sold in 2 weeks if we didn't buy it, if we didn't pay for it, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, like what? It was like $20,000, you guys. Like, I'm not kidding. It was like the scariest moment of my life. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I just told my husband, you know what? We're going to stay positive. I made a choice right then and there that I was not losing my house, okay? That I was going to pay all my bills on time, that they were going to be caught up by the end of the year, and everything was going to be good. And it happened. It happened because I said, this is my choice, and I live in a fairy tale, and this is my fairy tale. And my fairy tale goes, some things suck, but then it turns out good. So why am I going to cry about it that something scary happened right now, when I know in 5 minutes from now something amazing is going to happen? And instantly he called me back like an hour later. He's like, oh yeah, we have jobs for like 3 months. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. Like, and so it was instantly like everything that could have gone wrong. Oh yeah, he had a client that didn't pay. And it was like, hey, I have a client that owes like $500 and they're not going to pay. And we were like really counting on this $500. Like, literally within an hour, this person called back and told him that they were going to pay $3,600 in one payment. And it was like, what just happened? They went from being able to pay $0 to now being able to pay $3,600, right? And so it's one of those things where when you stay positive, you attract positive. And so by creating your brand and making it one that you absolutely love, it's so hard to not be you. It's so hard to not have a good business. It's so hard to go out and try to find prospects and actually talk to people when you're loving yourself and you're loving who you are and you're loving what you're going through, even if your house is on foreclosure, even if you have no money, even like you could give me the worst possible story and there's still a better outcome than what you think. Most of the time if you're in a negative thought, right? And so having that brand. So social media, in terms of social media, I know we have to wrap it up soon, but in terms of social media, you want to project that. So write down, what are your colors that you're going to work with? I even have a font. I have a signature font that I bought. It was like, I don't know, it was like $30 or something. So there's like some that are less or more, but you can go buy a font and put it in your signature. So whenever I brand anything on our website to me and I write my name, it's in that font, because it makes me feel good that my name is cute, even if my husband doesn't want that font. I can have that font, right? And so it's just really important. It adds value to me and my name. And it makes me feel like I'm $1 million, not like I'm two, right? And so just start noticing, like, and pinning everything, start screenshotting everything, just make a who am I, binder, board, whatever it is. I even have, actually, I wonder if I can show you guys. Hold on. Let me see if I can flip this. I'm pretty sure you can. Okay. So right here is my, don't mind the computer, we're installing a new computer, but right here is my who I am poster. And literally I look at this every single day and I sing and kind of dance to it. And I read every single word: family, champion, rise, sexy, upgrades, dream, simple, focus, flow, important, love, strong, happy, beautiful, smart, and I could literally go down this whole thing. And it's like, you don't have to make a life-sized one if you don't want to, but I do that every single day because it's my brand. It's who I am. It's what I love. Right. And so, I don't know, when you think about that, it's super important to know who you are, what you love, and who you want to become. And so I have a girly office also. I should show you the decorations. My office is kind of crazy right now. But yeah, so with that being said, branding is not as hard as it thinks. It's not just like, okay, what colors do I want to use? What fonts do I want to use? It's the personality of your business. It's who you are. So take it seriously. And, it doesn't happen overnight, but just start posting things that you like. Start using fonts that you like. If you see a picture, if you go to my Facebook page today, I shared a post that our business page did. And it's just a little teeny picture of like a little bubble, and it has like a little flower, like a little like leaf inside of it growing. And I thought it was so beautiful. And in our brand, we normally like put a tint over the picture and then put the text, like the quote over it, and all of our quotes that we post on Facebook. But I didn't want to cover that. So I didn't, because it made me happy. But I still used our brand's like image and our logo on there. But then I just totally like made it fit me, because why post something that I'm not happy about? Don't do it. So don't just like, and so I'm going to talk about network marketing for a second here. So in network marketing, it's really easy to see somebody else doing something really good and then just try to copy what they're doing, right? Oh, they post this picture and it looks really good with the product, so I'm going to post that picture. If that picture doesn't call to you, don't do it. I used to work in a boutique, and I was like, I was district manager for a boutique, and I can't tell you how many times they would see somebody, another store do something, and they would try to do it. And I would say, no, we need to make it look boutique-y because we're a boutique. That's our brand. And so we would have to use like the wood floors, the white creams, and stuff like that. So what is your brand? What are your colors? When you do pictures, stick to your pictures. Are you vibrant and bright? Are you more like subtle and smooth? Like I used to think that I was like light pink and like only white and cream. And then I was like, no, just kidding. I'm like bright blue. Like I changed my brand seasonally because seasons change, but I do what makes me happy, and that's what's important. So your brand is who you are and your personality. So just know that, and that's kind of the biggest thing that people kind of get lost on, especially when you see somebody in social media doing something really well. I mean, how many of you guys have seen somebody in social media that literally they look put together, everything matches, their quotes match, their colors match, their fonts are always the same? That person took time to figure out what they liked. Because I'm telling you, you don't put that much energy and effort in something that you don't like, right? So figure out what you like. Do you like to be girly? That's okay. Do you like to be like a little bit more masculine or bold? That's well, bold. Yeah, you can be bold and still be girly, but you know what I mean? And so what do you like? What kind of music do you like? What do you want to make people feel? I actually listen to country more than any other music. And so that was like really shocking that I said One Direction probably, but it's what came to me when I was doing the assignment, and it's what worked. And so just go with it. Like, make outfits, pin things that you love. Just find who you are to the core of you. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on that? I kind of could go on about this all day, obviously.
Okay, so I want to, like, you've opened up my mind to something about that, because I used to dislike country, but that's where I met my husband, and now I love it. And when I think about country, I think about us dating and dancing and how I felt beautiful, how I felt adored, how I felt like he was taking care of me. And I think about those words and think, but that's how I want, that's important to me. And so then you're also thinking about another song. One of my favorite songs is that Maroon 5, Sugar.
I love that song.
Why? Yeah. Well, because let's see, I wrote some words down I want to share. Let's see. Because he's sweet and loving and romantic and a gentleman and adored and leading and serving. Well, that's how I want to treat other people. Like, that stuff is important to me. And that has been my core, and what I've realized is who I am, and kind of my voice with not just It Works, but my life and my purpose with life on Facebook is portraying to others that is my mission, to help other people feel special. And so when I'm listening to you talk about these things that I love, hey, can you not turn the lights on and off, please? So when I'm thinking about that, I'm like, it's because of these things that truly do mean something to me deep down.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going?
Yes, I love it. I think it's a perfect example. I love music, obviously. So yes, perfect example. A lot of times we look to our past and it's like we see these horrible things. There's like those little moments of like those little things that like were family tradition, that were, you know, super important. All those little things, they make a difference and they matter. And so really just when you're, like I said, don't just say, oh, my favorite band is, you know, One Direction, and then say, okay, cool, that's who I am. No, you're not One Direction. But go back and say, why? What is it about it? Oh my gosh, it was that I was so young and carefree. I did whatever I wanted when I was younger. That's why I loved One Direction, because they don't care. They don't dance. They're not the boy band that does like every traditional dance that every boy band does. No, because they don't know how to dance and they don't care. They just do whatever they want. And that's what I was like, I'm that way. Like, I just want to do whatever I want. And when I used to do that, it felt so good. So perfect examples. I love it. I think it's super important to find who you are. We can definitely cover more social media stuff next time. We didn't really get into it, but just having your own brand and like knowing who you are. And that doesn't mean once again, you don't have to go create your own logo immediately. It doesn't have to be that. It's just when you share quotes that look the style that you want to be, share quotes that give somebody the feeling, the meaning behind it. You know, if you're somebody who isn't inspired by food, stop sharing food on your profile. I can't tell you how many people I see a day that share like food recipes, which is super good. My mom loves recipes, so I always tag her in them. But for me, I used to just share them because they were cool. It's like, oh, this is a cool video, check it out. And then I started realizing, well, I'm only sharing that because everybody else will like it. I'm not sharing it because I like it. What do I like? And then now I only share things that I like. I only post what I want to post. And so it's just really important to stay true to who you are and remember that you're not trying to please anybody else, that you're not performing for anybody else. When you step up and you perform for yourself, that's when people will notice you. And I'm going to use, I know we're over time, but I want to use this one example because it's so good. I know somebody that is in the transgender community, and she, I mean, has had an incredible journey that, you know, the hate has been there, the love has been there, and it's been insane. But if you look at her following on social media, it's insane. And the reason it's insane is because when it wasn't cool, when it wasn't supported, when it wasn't right, and I'm not saying that it is or isn't, but when in that moment, when she said, nope, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm going to be, and she stepped out of it, people hated her for it, but people also applauded her for it, right? So I think it's the same thing, and that's a very like extreme example, obviously, but now she has a ton of followers. If she wants to sell something on social media, boom, she's going to make a ton of money, like instantly. Like I'm sure she does, you know what I mean? Because she has such a huge following and such a huge trust and such a people behind her ready to support anything that she does. And it's the same thing with what you're doing. When you think about any industry, whether it's network marketing, whether it's the beauty, it doesn't matter what industry it's in. When you're the person that's like, oh, I don't want to make another Facebook video because, you know, so LipSense, I work with some people from LipSense and I love LipSense, but they're always like scared to make a video about lipstick, like applying lipstick, because everybody else in LipSense is doing it. Yeah, that's true. But you want to know the best people in that company are doing? They're making videos and they have the biggest following. Why? Because they started there. They didn't copy what somebody else was doing. They said, I feel like making a video and I'm not going to be scared of it and I'm going to do it. So as you're running your business and as you're running your brand, if something calls to you, do it. And then just tell yourself, I'm going to do it no matter what. Look at your vision board and say, no matter what, no matter how long it takes, no matter what it takes, this is going to be achieved. And you just get it done. Today, I found out that one of my favorite people in the world, she's amazing. Her company owns she owns like with her husband, they own a multi-million-dollar company and they do some amazing things. And we're hosting this event in January. And I was terrified that she wouldn't speak at it. And I found out that she would speak at it. And it was insane. And then my mind went to, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do this event anymore. It's too much pressure. Like I can't figure it out. I'm not going to. And then I went, no matter what it takes. And instantly I had people on the phone that were like, hey, I feel like I'm supposed to call you and help you. It's crazy how when you decide what's going to happen in your life, it happens. Your standards are super important. If you don't, look at Tony Robbins videos on standards, so that I don't have to teach it all because I don't want to like take more time. But anyways, so super important. Just pick who you are and just be that person. Just pick what you're going to do and just do it. And don't stop because of anybody else. Next time, I will give you guys a challenge. Okay. I'll give you guys a challenge right now. Colette, you can run your team and make sure that they do it or make sure they don't. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to make anybody do anything, but it's a really good challenge. So in our Breakthrough Accelerator program that we have, one of the day's challenge that we have people do is ask 10 people for a dollar bill that you do not know. 10 strangers for a dollar bill. I saw some eyebrows raised, right? It's insanely hard. It's like, I'm telling you this, I would never give somebody an assignment that I haven't done without telling them. There's only happened twice, and I've always said, hey, listen, I've never done this, but I feel like this would work. But this is one that me and my husband have both done because we were creating this program and we were like, we have to get this done. Like, we have to do this. And we were like, that's so cool. It's easy. Yeah, right. When you go to actually do it, it's not as easy as you think. And then you start to realize your relationship with money might be a little bit different, and you might be basing it on what other people think about you. So if you really want to break through that, I don't care what people think, I'm going to do whatever I want in a positive way and have a good relationship with money, go ask 10 people for $1 and keep asking until you get at least $1. So some people will get $1 and stop. Don't stop at number 2 if you get $1. Maybe you'll get $10, but ask at least 10 people and don't stop until you get at least one. It's hard. It took me 9 people to get one. And then
Are you supposed to give it back?
No.
Are you supposed to give it back? You keep it.
What? Okay. So, I love this. Okay. So anybody who has to get off, you're more than welcome to get off. But I'm going to talk about this really quick. Right? When you make money, instantly you have to give it back. No. When somebody gives you something, you receive it. You're not jumping them for it, right? You're not jumping them or taking it out of there. You're going to ask them, hey, can I have $1? It's so hard. And trick, if you want to be like super extreme, don't explain why. Don't tell them why you're asking for $1. If they say like, oh, why are you asking for $1? Well, I just need it, Don't say, oh, I had somebody tell me to do this thing because I'm supposed to be overcoming money. And then you're just justifying to them, which once again is about them and not you. So there you go. That's one of the hardest challenges that we do. And people hate it, but people love it because once they break through it, they're like, oh my gosh, I never knew. Yeah. And right after you do it, write down on paper what you learned about yourself, because then you're going to have like 20 realizations and it's going to be insane because there's a lot that you could probably think of. There's a lot that you don't know because once you do it, your subconscious will open it and the doors will connect. The dots will connect. So, there you go. So you're all crazy. No, I did. I'm telling you guys, we had to do this. And it was so, I'm going to tell you guys, it was so embarrassing because we were at the store by my mom's house. We were getting ready to pick up our daughter because it took us all day to talk ourselves into finally doing the assignment because we were launching this course and we said, if we don't do the assignment, we can't put it in there. And I was like, no, we're doing it. I was stubborn. So finally we get there, we're going to do it. We start walking around. I saw 5 people that I know and they kept trying to talk to me while I'm trying to ask people for $1. You know how embarrassing that is to be like, hey, can I have $1? To somebody that you don't know, right? While people that you do know are standing over here. And then it was funny because I left and they were like, oh my gosh, you just know everybody at the store. And I was like, yeah, I do. I wasn't going to tell them I was talking to strangers about give me $1, right? So there is definitely some serious crazy situations. I've had people that were on vacation doing this assignment and they were like, this is super awkward. I don't even speak this language. What am I doing? It gets pretty intense, but it's also very, very intensely rewarding. So I challenge you to do that before next time. So.
Oh, that's scary.
Right? And because Colette's your leader, I'm pretty sure you all could probably talk her into going first. So
I have to.
Right? It's
I
intense.
have to. Oh my
But
God.
she's like, I'm not going to have you talk for us anymore. Anyways, okay, cool. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions before we go? All right, cool. All right, so action steps, different piece of paper. I'm on a different piece of paper now, so I don't remember what they were. But
I wrote them down.
okay, cool. So yeah, focus on that, whatever they were. I don't remember because I'm like thinking about branding and all this other stuff. But yeah, so do your declarations, get your money friends, do good things. And if you guys have any questions, message Colette, message me, and I'll be happy to help.
And in 2 weeks, same time, right?
Yes.
Same time, same Zoom number.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And everyone else, stay on real quick. I'll just go over the action steps real quick. But thank you, Elisa, for your time, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
All right, have a fabulous night.
Thank you.
See ya. Okay, so here's the action steps if you have not written them down. Now I'm super nervous, by the way.
Colette, I need $1.
Someone.
You're my first. Bring me $1 tomorrow.
Oh my God. Okay. So there's quite a few action steps. And I want you to do your best at getting a lot of them done. So I want you to, number one challenge is find crazy ways to do your declaration. And I loved her thought process with that, with you can't just have it one certain way. You really have to get it ingrained in your mind of whether it's through music, through yelling, through tears, through meditation, through voice recording, video recording. What is your declaration? What are your I ams, and how you're going to flip the negative things that you say into the positive. And loved that. And then, so part of that declaration is that times it by 3. I don't know. Hang on. So we'll keep going. Start your money friends. So start collecting your money. Your money friends are your dollar bill. So any increment of your currency. And just one second, Allie. And so start collecting your money friends and have a conversation with time and money. I actually loved this idea because I sat for a second thinking about it. If you sit and think about talking to time and being like, time, I just wish that it didn't go so fast. Well, why do I wish it didn't go so fast? Well, maybe I'm regretting not working as hard, or maybe yada yada. And so just start peeling away the layers of the onion for time and money and get to the root of what the problem is. Oh, here we go. Flowing, serving, mission times 3. So this was if you are flowing, serving, and doing your mission to the highest possible level, what does that look like? So who are you? What does that look like in your best version of yourself? And then times that by 3. I'm really excited to work on this one. Get a Pinterest board, pick out outfits that are your favorites, colors that are your favorites, like things that speak to you, that make you happy. And then, but that is who you are, and that's what you start posting about on Facebook. And then the scary one, ask 10 people for $1. That is so scary. But going back to the finding out who you are, I think that is most important. And one thing that I kind of started doing was, instead of sharing a quote that I saw on, like if you type in patience or honesty in Google and then you click on images, you'll find all these quotes about honesty or patience or whatever in Google. And I used to just find one that looked cute and then I would post it right after some story. No, not anymore. Take the words of that and put the text over one of your pictures, because now people see you with that phrase, and now it becomes you speaking that, not just a graphic. And so finding out who you really are, what your mission is in life, and what voice you want to have on Facebook or with this world, figuring out what that is and then just being true to who you are is part of this branding yourself that we've talked about before. So if you need help with that, please message your leader, April or myself, and we would be happy to help you with that. So I'm going to stop the recording real quick. So thanks for joining. We'll talk to you soon, 2 weeks from today.